And so now the gentlelady from New York, Ms. Malliotakis, is recognized.
Thank you. I figured usually I'm last in asking questions, but I was smart and I came here now. I went and voted first, so now I can actually move up in the time frame here. Thank you, Ambassador, for being with us. I appreciate the discussion that we're having today. Obviously, trade is so critical. It is critical for our allies, right? It is critical for the United States to make sure that we are growing our GDP. And I know in the third quarter, and it was down comparatively to previous years. And so there's one real opportunity for us to grow our GDP. It is trade. And on that front, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Taiwan. And obviously, Taiwan is a great partner. And I also want to talk about our neighbors to the south. And, you know, we see China investing heavily in those areas. I think some of the smart things for us to be looking at are ways that we can build the trade relationship with our neighbors in Central and South America, and as well as our allies, right? Talking to, you know, whether it's UK, whether it's Taiwan, whether it's Poland, which is a great like-minded country where we're seeing more pharmaceuticals being manufactured. But first, let's start with Taiwan, because many of us here are friends of Taiwan, and I appreciate the U.S.-Taiwan 21st Century Initiative, which began last year. However, the initiative doesn't touch upon the issue of market access, and this is something that I believe would be tremendously beneficial to our ally and to the United States as we try to reduce our dependency on China. With Taiwan being a U.S. top 10 trading partner, I would hope that there is a plan to start negotiations with Taiwan on furthering trade and market access soon. Is there a pathway that you're taking at this moment to do that?
Congresswoman, it's nice to meet you. Welcome to the committee. And I have to say that I really admire your strategic thinking here, and I'm very inspired by it. Delighted to engage on the specific question of Taiwan and market access. This allows me to scale out a little bit, and I don't want to take too much time because I know you want to get to other topics as well. But there's an important element of our traditional trade practice which not enough people understand or see, and it gets way into the technical aspects of how a traditional trade agreement works and how the tariff liberalizations work as well. The tariff liberalizations are generally they're preferences that you get if you can meet a certain rule, and so a certain amount of content in the thing that's being traded has to have been created in the partnership or in the region in order to qualify. That number is never 100%. So there's always, by design, some seepage from outside of the partnership or the region that you are negotiating with that also benefits from the liberalization. One of the concerns that we have, and this is around the world, but certainly in the Asia-Pacific region, is we've seen through the pandemic how far-reaching our supply chains go and how many of them are concentrated in terms of production in one particular economy that is sometimes very open to us and quite often not really open, and where geopolitically increasingly we have become very nervous. And so when it comes to market access in the sense of tariff liberalizations, we are trying to take very strategic steps to make sure that when we do engage on these types of topics with our partners in this region, that we are doing it in a way where we can strengthen each other, where we are building resilience for each other, and we're not further entangling ourselves in dangerously vulnerable supply chains. And
okay,
that's why we've not moved there.
I appreciate that, but are we at least trying to work toward that with Taiwan? Because I think that is important on market access, but also with regards to, and it's another issue, it's a different hearing, but the double taxation issue that Taiwan faces when trying to invest here in the United States.
Happy to talk about double taxation. That also involves my Treasury colleagues, so I want to acknowledge that. Let me put it this way. In terms of trying to bring this advanced, more strategic thinking, especially to the tariff liberalization negotiations, I will tell you that it is a very lonely place to be. But Congresswoman, if this is something where you see the dots that we're trying to connect, I would be delighted to work with you and anyone else who can bring expertise to this conversation to help us advance
I would certainly like to have a follow-up meeting with you on that issue. One last thing is, and I have no time, so I'm just going to leave it out there for you to consider. What COVID had showed us was our dependency on China. It could be very dangerous in the future. We need to be mindful of that. And I'm particularly concerned about active pharmaceutical ingredients, of which 95% U.S. imports for ibuprofen are from China, 45% of the penicillin. I just want to lay that out there for this administration to consider. Let's not wait. Let's start moving now. And I think, again, that's another opportunity for us when we talk about nearshoring and friendshoring, working with our allies in like-minded nations. There could be a very good strategic partnership there.
I
Thank
copy
you.
that.
And the committee stands in recess. So I now became the chair, I guess, temporarily.